Welcome to my podcast. Today I'll be talking about the NHL All-Star Game Skills Competition, injuries that impacted the NFL playoffs, and NBA All-Star roster predictions. NHL All-Star Game Skills Competition. Fastest skater. Atlantic vs. Metro. Nikita Kucherov vs. Taylor Hall and Erik Karlsson vs. Chris Letang. Central vs. Pacific. McDavid vs. McKinnon and Drew Doughty vs. John Klingberg. Next up we have the new passing challenge. Atlantic vs. Metro. Eichel vs. Crosby and Barkov vs. Giroux. Central vs. Pacific. Patrick Kane vs. Johnny Gaudreau and Nathan McKinnon vs. Connor McDavid. Up next, we have the Safe Streak, which is a new event. For the Atlantic Division, the goalies will be Andrei Vasilevskiy and Carey Price. The goalie for the Metro Division will be Braden Holtby. The goalie for the Central Division will be Connor Hellebuyck. And in goal for the Pacific Division, Marc-Andre Fleury. Next, we have the Puck Control Relay. Atlantic vs. Metro. Nikita Kucherov vs. John Tavares and Brad Marchand vs. Taylor Hall. Central vs. Pacific. Blake Wheeler vs. Anze Kopitar and PK Subban vs. Ricard Raquel. Next, we have the Hardest Shot. Atlantic vs. Metro. Mike Green vs. Seth Jones and Alex Ovechkin vs. Steven Stamkos. Central vs. Pacific. Pietrangelo vs. OEL and Brent Burns vs. PK Subban. Last, we have the accuracy shooting. Atlantic vs. Metro, Stamkos vs. Giroux, and Matthews vs. Crosby. Central vs. Pacific, Brayden Schenn vs. Brock Besser, and Patrick Kane vs. Anze Kopitar. Side note, these are just predictions. These are not final. Next week, I'll be talking about the best goalies in fantasy hockey this season. Injuries that impacted the NFL playoffs. Here are a list of injuries to key players that impacted this year's NFL playoffs. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate and was leading the Eagles to the best record in the NFC before he got injured. Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was on track to lead the Texans to the playoffs before he got injured. Because of this injury, the Texans missed the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers missed almost the whole season with a broken collarbone. Due to this injury, the Packers missed the playoffs. Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was injured the whole season, and as a result, the Colts were the worst team in the AFC South. Carson Palmer and David Johnson. Season-ending injuries to David Johnson and Carson Palmer cost the Arizona Coyotes a playoff berth. Without David Johnson, the Cardinals lost basically their entire offense. J.J. Watt. When J.J. Watt got hurt, that hurt any chances of the Texans making the playoffs. Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor. Season-ending injuries to these two members of the Seattle Seahawks defense basically ended their playoff hope. Eric Berry. Eric Berry is the glue for the Chiefs on defense, so when he went down with an injury, the Chiefs' playoff hopes were in jeopardy. As you can see, there were many injuries to star players that ultimately changed the playoffs this season. Because of these injuries, bearing any letdown, the Patriots should win yet another Super Bowl. Next week, I'll be previewing Super Bowl 52. NBA All-Star Game roster predictions. This year's All-Star Game will be a little different. They will have the leading vote-getters of each conference pick teams. Not surprisingly, the captains will be LeBron James and Steph Curry. Here are my predictions for the teams. Team LeBron. The Greek Freak, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, John Wall, Karl Anthony Towns, Kevin Love, Ben Simmons, Victor Oladipo. Team Steph Curry. Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, DeMar DeRozan, Kristaps Porzingis, Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard, LaMarcus Aldridge, Draymond Green, Andre Drummond. NBA All-Star roster. Next podcast, I'll be talking about the best goalies in fantasy hockey this season. I'll be previewing Super Bowl 52, and I'll also be talking about NBA All-Star roster.